close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. We'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go.
Well, I don't know if you can hear me. Let me know. Give me a 5 if you can hear.
And on we'll go.
Must stop.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll
That's the fucking first load of shite that I could get my hands on that didn't make me absolutely want to top myself. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, happy New Year, happy Easter, happy birthday, happy Christmas, and every other shit you could think of. Sorry I haven't been around. I was slightly dead, but we're feeling much less dead now, so that's a start, isn't it? What do we got? We got a load of us in, 77 watching. That's 77th as in the brigade. Literally, today is the first day that I have not felt fucking abysmal. So there was never going to be anything over Christmas as much as I wanted to. It would have been quite nice to do a Happy New Year stream, but I sat in there under a blanket festering. So The clue in the title is this. I wanted to go and blame it all on Islam, but it seems that there's more layers to this than a fucking onion. So we can't. Not just like that, anyway. We can say that obviously driving around with an ISIS flag on the back of your car is a bit suspect, even though Callum did give me some sort of flag. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's ISIS. Thank God, because they're illegal. However, both of the lads were off the same base. So we're hearing, but then that would make sense if they're both ex-military. They had to meet somewhere, all right? But before I get to that, let's go to terror attack before, all right? So over in Germany, terror attack in Bavarian, Christmas market. I think it's Bavarian Christmas market. You don't come on here for my spellings or my ability to read, sorry, so there it is. Christmas market fooled by police. A 37-year-old suspect from Iraq, I wonder what religion is, had allegedly photographed the market in Augsburg or wherever it is and discussed driving a car through it, because that does seem to be the modern way of doing things, doesn't it? Never forget, I watched a documentary about history of car bombs and when they came about and then who decided that they were the most useful and went ahead with it. But it was one that was used quite a lot by the old IRA. They did like the old car bombs, but this way is, I suppose if you hate everybody, it doesn't really matter, does it? You could just drive through, wipe everything out, right? And by the way, we don't agree in any of this. I have to say this for the lefties and all the other people that will be looking for just the slightest thing wrong so that they can come down on us. Yeah, I suppose if you just hated everybody within there and you consider that any Muslim that you might run down in the middle of it to be collateral damage and will immediately go to Allah because they were part of a religious attack or a religiously driven attack against the infidel or whatever. So, yeah, I suppose it would be the way forward. And I suppose after that, when you've taken out quite a few, what seems to be the case in many is they get out and then try to do a bit more with a weapon. When you look at the most amount of people that was taken out by a car bomb within Europe, you'd think a lot more actually would be taken out, but it doesn't seem that there's that many because, unfortunately, the people who are closest to the car bomb often take a lot of the force away from it, and the further you are, and it is very, very hit and miss. I shouldn't say that, but you get the idea. So this terror attack was foiled. German authorities foiled a potential terror attack on Christmas market in wherever it was again, because I'm not going through that. The 37-year-old from Iraq was arrested on Wednesday evening and in shared accommodation. For asylum seeker. I haven't read through this yet, so I'm going to be as shocked as you lot, or not, as the case is. Because we've said a lot of the times that a lot of these hotels, there were some shady goings on and metal containers full of stuff that nobody actually could get into, whatever. But it seems that, yes, asylum seeker in Augsburg, Germany, newspaper Welt reported. A spokesman for the police confirmed the arrest on Friday. Yeah, basically, so they've stopped an idiot. Source saying the suspect had disseminated posts on social media glorifying the Islamic State. Beautiful, eh? And took photograph. Should we give up on trying to read that? Because that's clearly not working. This is the problem when you drink alcohol and give it up for coffee. Anyway, I'll press on. But basically, that one got stopped. So what do you think they said about the one that didn't get stopped? Suspect in Christmas market attack shows sign of mental illness. Never saw that coming, did you? Now, if, say, for instance, somebody in Germany, say, for instance, had alleged far-right tendencies, right? Do you think they'd say he was mad? Or do you think they'd say that he'd plotted and it was all very clever the way they'd done it and all very sinister and it was his pure hatred? Yeah, actually, let's start this from the beginning, right? Suspect plans and executes the most evil and heinous terror attack known for ages, all right? This man had looked into who he was going to kill and sourced the vehicles and whatever it is he used, blah, 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 blah. And he's evil and heinous. And as you add far right and all the rest of it to it, right, they would be lumping on the hatred, lumping on the fear and all the rest of it, right? And they'd go ballistic and they wouldn't hold back at all. But when you actually put Muslim or Islam, all of a sudden they've got to downplay it. Because, as I've explained to you before, there's those treaties and pacts that they signed years ago to glorify Islam and not paint Islam in a bad light, which is kind of difficult when somebody who says they're from Islam or who has connections, I should say, to Islam, runs over a load of fucking people. How do you tidy that up and pack that away in such a manner that it doesn't offend people? Well, to be honest, you could just report on it normally because people are getting so used to this that when I said to a friend, I said, we need to get this terror attack. What we did is we looked back through the last few days and didn't think about looking back a little bit further than that. This is happening all the time, but it does seem to be that they always want to do it around Christmas. A couple of ideas spring to mind. Obviously, there's a lot of people out shopping and gathering, but also it's a Christian time. So naturally, there's the time to do it. But it says here, the suspect in the deadly car ramming attack in the German Christmas market showed signs of mental illness, marking the incident even harder to prevent. German Interior Minister Nancy whatever chops is said on Monday, no motive has yet been established for the December 20 attack no motive. That left 5 people dead and more than 200 wounded. I'm surprised more didn't die, by the way. Glad no less people than what I would have expected died. The German government under fire for failing to prevent the deadly car ramming attack on a Christmas market urged on Monday that the tragedy would have been harder to prevent and said that the suspect appeared to be mentally disturbed. Let's get round to the suspect because I could just read more. Where is it this mush came from? I believe, there we go. Saudi psychiatrist, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce that name, used a motor vehicle as a weapon and a method previously used in jihadist attacks, including, I'm surprised that one got past the editor, in Berlin and in France. Yeah, so this does seem to be the MO. Put it this way, if in the 70s, right, in England, a car bomb had gone off, immediately they would point the finger at the IRA. That's how it used to be. If somebody gets run over now in Europe, okay, the first thing you think is it's Islam, right? But we've become accustomed to this. Now, I don't know if you've seen some of the pictures of some of the markets around, say, for instance, Germany and places they'd have the markets over in England. You've got all of these peaceful barriers. That's what we take the piss out. And the barriers of peace. Basically, it's to stop just this happening. Some piece of shit who's ideologically driven, driving through a bunch of innocent people and killing them. Now, here's a question. Why is it they don't have them in places like countries where they've banned Islam? Or countries where they have massive immigration laws and fuck off great fences? You have to see also that there is a slight demographic difference in some of these markets. Take a picture, say, for instance, of Birmingham in the 60s or in the 70s or in the 80s. And you'll notice there's some really weird anomaly on these pictures. It's called white people. And you don't get that these days. Luckily, they've managed to black all that out. Redact. That's what I meant. It's all the same, isn't it? So I move on. Now, I'm going to play the devil's advocate for 2 seconds before we lose this stream. I'll have a sip of coffee first. When you think to yourself, oh, did I? Yes, you did. Yeah. Anyway, I will say this, that I wonder how many of these people, because we're going to get onto the American thing in a minute, and that is a lot more complicated. I wonder how many people who have, say, for instance, lived in the Middle East that weren't particularly, hardcore, if you like. And then all of a sudden had maybe the Americans or the British or whatever forces during which Iran or Iraq or Afghanistan war or wherever it is. I'm not good at my geography, but you get the idea, right? Who had their family destroyed while they were having some democracy bombed into them. You know what I mean? It does make you wonder whether that would turn somebody who's obviously holding what's left of his family in his arms and crying a lot, whether that might make him slightly bitter. I'd suggest it would. I'm fairly sure that if, say, for instance, something had happened to one of my family members, I'd get the ump. Which is why, this is why I was always confused going back to Ireland, because I use this as a bench against how that when they had one of their kids bombed or their family bombed, they always said, I don't want this to lead to more trouble and I'd love to forgive the person that did this. I just don't know how anybody could do that, but their faith was obviously that strong. However, I'm now going to go to the American bit, which is a lot different because, let's just get rid of that. The New Orleans guy, right? Much as the guy, I was thinking straight away, got to be Muslim. But the only thing that I can say that is he's dark-skinned. Well, that doesn't mean shit, does it? Now, born and bred, a Texan, I believe. Let's have a little read. New Orleans terrorists. Why is it they always got some fucking stupid name that I can't pronounce? Some sort of dim jabber. As soon as I read jabber, I'm always going, the hut. I can't help it. I need to grow up. Emails give clues as to why he cracked up. But did he? He didn't crack under pressure. He managed to plan this out quite well and also managed to work out which way he was going to get into where he did. Now, New Orleans is the party place. I remember when they were doing the film JFK, and they did a lot of it from around New Orleans. And it is the laid back place where they have a lot of parties on the streets and the bars are nice and stuff like that. But anyway, apparently he lost his mind. It says Jabber flew an ISIS flag as he ran over the crowd in the iconic French Quarter, killing 14 and injuring dozens with a rented truck, a battery truck. Now, I don't like battery vehicles, but I've got to say, and I've not thought of this yet, when you look at the state of the front of that vehicle, it makes you think to yourself, did he pick a battery vehicle? Because when you start hitting things into the front of the vehicle, the radiator goes, the engine will go quite quickly. And also, with the weight of a battery vehicle and the traction going to all four wheels, it would make you, unfortunately, be able to get over obstacles. You can work out what I mean. So anyway, killing dozens of filled with explosives. Right, so apparently it was filled with explosives. He died in a shootout with the police. Now, I've seen a video of them all hanging around the corner and all of a sudden them running down and off it went. Now, this guy, obviously an ex-vet, served in many different places. Where did it say? Jabber seemed to crack after his second divorce. Yeah, of course. In 2020, when his then wife of 3 years, whatever her name was, got a restraining order against him. Or could it have been that he'd gone a little bit Islamic and turned into a complete prick and decided that maybe, just maybe, that she had to start behaving like some wife of an Islamic man? Just throwing it out there. Now, if he'd been into a theatre of war and seeing what America had done to ensure its oil prices and to regime change so that whoever it is that was coming in didn't want to trade, say, for instance, in something else but the petrodollar, and weren't going to, say, for instance, I don't know, show allegiance to the Russians and the way they're going to trade and the block they're going to trade. And I can't remember exactly for the life of me the name of that, but it will come to me. Because, I mean, when you look at it, they switched out going in the past. One leader who was heading towards what looked like communism and wanted to deal with them, and they put in the Ayatollah, which they thought was a good idea because he might be more sympathetic to selling oil at the right price. What I'm wondering, though, my point here is this guy, or had he been radicalized after he'd seen what apparently the good guys, which is us, have done to countries? Because I know a lot of people who've been in, there you go, BRICS, right? I've seen a lot of people that have been in the military that come out and gone, well, actually, I didn't sign up to go and protect somebody's financial assets. I didn't go over there to protect oil wells or protect poppy fields or whatever. So, it does make you think. But anyway, let's see what else they say. Jabba claimed it was, this time, in essence, I cannot afford the house, the payments, and the past year in the excess of 27,000 and the danger of foreclosure as we delay. So apparently his divorce wasn't happy. Now, I'm wondering, right, whether, do you ever think false flag? Possibly? Do you ever wonder whether there could be something here? Because if both of them worked in the military, right, and both of them have come out, and one of them especially doesn't look like he's particularly Muslim, okay? Now, I know that's going to be stereo casting or whatever, or typecasting, but I don't give a fuck. The other mush doesn't look, if we go to him, and it's interesting, actually, that in the lead up to Trump taking over and the Republicans getting back in, that they decide to use electric cars because obviously, what's his name, has decided to get in with Trump, Twitter leader. It'll come to me in a minute. But anyway, it was funny because, or it's not funny, but they used one of his vehicles that apparently was built like a fucking tank. And because it was built so well, it didn't explode in the way that obviously the guy thought it would. But apparently he's dead. The other guy's dead. I don't know. I'm smelling, I'm a second. Let me see if we can turn this phone as well so if we get anybody calling. Because you lot might have a better idea of this than me. Let me see if we can set this up. Oh dear, where are we? System, Bluetooth. Right, well, apparently it's connected, so we'll see. So yeah, I'm wondering, is it some sort of false flag? Were these military assets that got taken out themselves? Were they generally, or was at least one of them a convert? Has this part got nothing to do with Islam? But why is it that when Christmas comes around, people get in cars and start running fuckers over? Just seems a bit odd to me. And why is it a Trump Tower? Why was that a target? Now, Trump has tried to blame them, that is the Democrats, for shit leadership, shit border control, shit policing, shit legislation. Everything was shit. So that's what Trump thinks. We got 600 people watching, by the way. What we're going to do in a bit is go over to the call-in, if I can get back to that. And that should be there. And then we'll take some people that want to call in. And also, I will get a link to Discord so that some of you can come on after and have a chat. But Mossad are behind the CIA and MI6. I'm afraid that I can't really argue too much with that. How is it that Mossad, from one of the smallest countries in the world, has the most lethal intelligence agency ever? And also, how is it that Mossad can go into any country they like, start killing people, and nobody says fuck all? We don't like him. He's a threat to us, or he knows something, or she knows something, or whatever. We don't like them. Just take them straight out. It does make you wonder how long that these people can stay in some sort of high standing. But what do you think? And let me just put that out there. You know, I think tonight we're not going to have a single bloody call in. Oh, well, be fucking short stream otherwise. Let me put a link in. Give us a second. Invite people. Copy link. I can put the link in there. That's how to come and join us on Discord after, should you wish to. Who we got in here? Herman the Tosser. What a great name. We need to make a white-only, white English, Welsh and Scottish area of Great Britain. You won't have to make it. It'll become natural. And the reason I say that is when you look at any country that goes towards civil war, they end up moving where their friends are, because you'll see, when you look at, say, for instance, historically speaking, that you'll get black people who feel a threat, they'll live with other black people. You'll see whites that live under fear of attack from other whites, right? When you look at, say, for instance, Ireland, and they move amongst their own. So Catholics with Catholics, Protestants with Protestants, whether they like it or not. We have a call. Hello, first caller of 2025.
Hi there, is that Reverend Sideways?
Allegedly, yes. Go on.
That's great, yes. Just a theory. It seems like what he had in his Tesla man had in his boot was things for a firework display, maybe a Barbie. Maybe he invited Jabberman, and Jabberman said, "Wait outside there." And
yeah. I'll tell you what. Trump wants to come along. You just park up there, mate, with your fireworks and your gas bottle and all the rest of it, right? And I'll come out and join you in a second. Boom.
Yeah, I'll just check your tires while I'm down here. You just wait inside, and I'll be back in a few minutes.
It's funny because I've looked at the video, and I can see the video at the moment going on there, and the actual explosion came from underneath the vehicle.
Yes, so I'm wondering if he might have arranged it, and then he's gone round to his mates during the night and thought, "Fuck it, I'm not going to the firework display. I've got other things to do. But meet me outside Trump Towers just in case."
I mean, hang on a second. I'm going to how do I present? Share screen. That should be it there. So if I share this, you can see in a minute. You can see the back of the truck. I mean, it's not very big, but best. Hang on. There you go.
I'll see if I can see YouTube. I'm on my phone at the same time. I'm watching YouTube from here.
So yeah, at the moment I'm seeing pictures because it's got the bloke talking about it, and there's oil, there's gas bottles. There are. I don't know, are they metal or whatever? But if you have a look, the actual fire comes from underneath and then above. So who knows? But it's definitely also a punt at Elon Musk and Trump. But as for the other bloke with a jihadi flag or whatever, ISIS flag, and then driving through a load of people, bit odd. But nothing is out of the realms, is it, these days? Nothing.
Well, the thing is, it just seems a bit of a coincidence that they both served at the same barracks. Maybe, Tesla man might have invited all his barracks friends, and that one's decided no, or said, "Oh, okay, but you'll have to come and pick me up outside Trump Towers. In the meantime, night before or whatever."
It's a bit of a.
It's just a theory. I mean,
it's a long shot.
Without the right information, we're being withheld information all the time, and without the correct information, all people can do is guess. And this is a problem, you see, because when people are guessing, they're coming. They might be coming up with totally the wrong ideas, but at the same time, we might be coming up with with ideas that end up being true.
The whole idea is we're all supposed to guess, and then the right is supposed to come up with their idea. Islam's supposed to come up with their idea,
which is normally right.
The left will come up with, it must be a right-wing conspiracy, and the poor person was, I don't know, made to do it because of reasons. Then you'll have, obviously, the politicians come out and say, well, we'll have to let more people into the country because that's a safer bet, and why not? So, fuck knows.
But, I mean, the thing is as well, he's got all these excuses, and he was apparently before he became Islam, he was like, wasn't he right wing as well? Before, oh no, I'm thinking of another one. But no, before he came right wing, he was just like, he might have joined the forces, to get the training, and he might have just seemed normally okay, but always had this plan in the back of his head to do one day, and then he's thought, fuck it, I've got a really good excuse now, the divorce and everything. That'll make it look like I'm mental and I can get away with it because I'm mentally ill because of divorce.
Unless that was unless that divorce stuff is all part of a cover story. Now,
or he's going to use that. He's thinking, oh, got rid of the ex-wife, got a new wife now. I'll use that as an excuse for why I've gone doolally.
I knew a right-wing person, and it was a person that met me in my early years doing this in a hotel that was trying to obviously feel me out to see whether I was able to be bought. But one of the things he did say was I would sooner be Muslim than I would like the modern day people today. And I'm like, huh? He says they've got it right by the way they they look after their family and their kids. He says they've got it right about the way that the wife does what she's fucking told and the man of the house. And a lot of their traditional values I kind of like. And I was like, and he was supposed to be an out and out Christian. And I found what he was saying there a bit odd. Well, it turned out that at a later date that he had helped set up other organizations, and that he flitted from one organization to the next. And I have to think that the person was probably a British asset and goes around to all these new people, YouTubers, and see if he can get them to go on board and just be controlled.
By pretending to be somebody from a different background than he is to start with.
But and anyway, when you say I'm not interested in your money, mate, they kind of go away because they're like, fuck, well, there's nothing we can offer you. But as for it says here, the bomber who blew up the Tesla Cybertruck outside the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas has been identified as an active duty Army service member. So that's suggesting that the guy's still working.
Right. So still, as in still now, as in the present.
Apparently, it's a bit like when you looked at 7/7 and these people, from what I could gather, from a few things that I looked into, were actually working with the MI5 and other agencies to act out what a bomb on the capital, our British capital, would be like. And a lot of the video footage that they've got is from the dry run that they did 2 weeks prior, because they weren't actually in London that day because they couldn't get in there, which is why when you look at the video footage, it's all fucked. But there are a lot of people that will act with the armed services or the secret services or whatever you want to call them, with the best of intentions. Okay, so you want to set up a scenario, and I will play as an asset for you and behave and do whatever it is that you tell me to do. And we're just going to run through to see how easy it is and how feasible it is for a terrorist person to actually do this. Drive this vehicle in there, right? All those containers, by the way, in the back are empty. Don't worry about it. Person drives in there, then they remote controlly blow it up, and they have a story in place already. I mean, you've only got to look back at the history of, say, for instance, the JFK stuff. There was a backstory before it, and there was a story after it, and anybody who didn't go along with it or a witness ended up dying. But there's been many things since. And I can't help but think that there's just this. Why would a healthy American active soldier blow himself up in a Tesla outside Trump Towers? It just stinks.
Exactly. Why would he do that? I mean, there's been. I mean, we've got backstory on the Jabba guy. Oh, it was this and it was that, and he was depressed or whatever. But we've had nothing. We've got no backstory on the Tesla guy.
And
do you know what I mean?
And also,
nothing's been said about him.
We can't say what color he was or what he was.
No,
right? Because
I mean, we've got his name, which sounds like a Western name, but we've got no reports of he was going through a rough divorce or whatever. But we heard that almost straight away about the other guy as soon as they found out who he was.
Well, the other thing is when a body's been absolutely fucking fried, because when I listened to it, the police chief, he goes, "We don't know if it's a man or a woman in there." So if he didn't know there and then, when they took the body out, it's just a body. You can't tell whether it's Islamic or whether it's white or whether
it's all charred and burnt.
Yeah, generally speaking. Yeah. So they could have made up any story after that. They won't.
Just say, for instance, they might have got the name because of the registration of the truck or whatever in the hire centre, and it was him that way. But okay, you've got his name through the hiring of the vehicle, but what about his medical record? Surely that would have been the first thing they would have done. Is he a crazy person? Do you know what I mean?
Well, this is it. I mean, is he a lefty that hates Trump, that now hates fucking what's his chops? You know.
Well, that's an excuse. That could be a red herring, couldn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
But it's just weird. I mean,
it's very, very weird. Extremely weird.
I mean, in Europe, right, when they drive into markets, you generally got a rough idea they're doing it because they're religiously driven.
Yes.
The guy, the Texan Jabba the Hutt, right, him.
Yes.
Is he a convert? Because how many white people have been converted, let alone black? And
well, exactly. I mean, did they say that he's Saudi? I mean, yeah, that's what they're saying, isn't it? But Do they say he's a Saudi doctor or something?
No, that the one over in Germany, yeah, Saudi psychiatrist.
Yes, he was that.
Yeah.
That Jabba guy though, he just looks like maybe Caribbean with a beard.
Yeah, he's apparently born and bred Texan. Well, you know, you can be obviously coloured and be a Texan, so that's not out of the ordinary. Yeah,
yes.
But yeah, weird. Just I mean, Samsud Dim Jabbar, right? I'm sorry.
Yes,
that doesn't half sound Welsh. It really does.
Exactly. So he's definitely gone out of his way to prove that that's the culture that he wants to now follow.
Yeah, I mean, they changed their names, don't they? I mean, what's one of the most recognized names? It's fucking Mohammed something or other, isn't it?
That's right. But the Tesla guy hadn't, by the sound of it.
Assuming that he is who they say he is.
Assuming that he is who he say he is. Was he called Michael or something? I can't remember, but it was definitely a Western name that he still had.
Hang on a minute. It should say, I can get another. I'm going to have to get it back up. I can't remember his fucking name now.
All right, but you managed to get it though. But it's definitely a Western name. I think
Matthew Levelsberg. Burger.
Martin.
No, Matthew, it says here.
Matthew, yes.
An army service member, Matthew Levelsberger. So
okay.
Weird.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I heard a different report earlier on. I think it was Jeff Taylor's that mentioned his name.
Okay, but he was identified by law enforcement sources as the bomber in the Wednesday attack that left 7 wounded. He served 19 years in the army, 18 of which were spent with the special forces, according to his LinkedIn profile. I don't know what a LinkedIn profile is, by the way, but I'm a fucking fossil.
Me neither. I didn't really bother too much of that sort of stuff.
His current role was listed as a remote and autonomous systems manager, which he had been in just for 3 months. Makes you wonder.
Right.
So
yes, remote and autonomous. Yeah.
So
maybe developed some buttons or whatever.
I have no idea, but yeah. So it's just every Christmas, isn't it? And then over in Germany as well, apparently they've got this thing where they all light fireworks and set them off. But all the footage I saw of people, they didn't look exactly German who were setting off these fireworks, and they didn't sound German either. But I'm sure that means nothing, right? So, fuck knows, basically. But there it is. Yeah, go on.
Like we say, is got this defence now that is mental at the time because he was going through a divorce, so he's going to get away with it, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Basically,
well,
he's not going to serve his full sentence if he's got an excuse for being that way at the time.
Well, no, the both of them are dead, aren't they? So.
Oh right, yes. Sorry.
Yeah, the one of them fried in the car, and the other one
got shot, didn't he?
Taken out. Yes. Yeah. I mean, the other one was desperate to kill as many people as possible. But that Tesla thing, have they said they've recorded it or recovered any weapons?
Not to my knowledge.
No.
Apparently they said there was explosive, but that's probably what set it off.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the back of the vehicle, they're saying
that there fireworks, wasn't it? And it looked like a gas can or it looked like an oil can or something.
Yeah, I don't know, fishy as fuck, but but yeah, weird, isn't it? A special operator, yeah. Anyway,
certainly. Are you still live at the moment?
Then? I am indeed, yeah. So
right, yes. I had to come off YouTube because I was getting feedback. So
no worries,
I was
mate.
Listening to you both a little bit behind and the current conversation. But no, it's been great talking to you.
No worries, mate. Well, look, you take it steady, and I'll speak to you in a bit, buddy.
I've just got a few more pints to go, so I'll be taking it steadier after that.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. Enjoy. Have a good New Year.
Good
2025. Anyway. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. So, if any of you've got any idea or any theory on this, let me know. Trump and Musk was embroiled in a argument with MAGA last week over there. Oh, we got another one. Hello.
Or was embroiled in.
Right. If you could turn the live stream down in the background, that'd be great.
Hello.
Hello, mate.
Hello, Simon.
How you doing?
Not too bad. Yeah, I'm going to bring something a little bit closer to home.
Go on, then.
In what realm did somebody knight Sadiq Khan?
What you mean? How could they have even possibly come up with that idea to knight him?
Yeah,
Mm.
it's incredible. I just cannot believe it. Are we all living on a different planet to these other people?
No, what you'd usually find is shitloads of people that are the most corrupt and deplorable scumbags on the planet are also some of the worst narcissists in the world, right? So you want to get them to do some shitty acts like, I don't know, turn London into the Middle East or whatever, or cover up stuff or go along with some fucking plan. And all you got to do is promise them fame, wealth, and in this case, a knighthood, and they'll just go along with it. And so many people that seem to have been part of the BBC, the degenerates, they were knighted. And other people who have done some incredibly shit stuff were knighted. And it's amazing. Some of the people that have done some of the best stuff going don't even get a look in. And I'm starting to think that the New Year's honours list is, in some cases, probably ram-packed for some of the most deplorable people, even though we don't know what they've done. It comes out in the end. But yeah, but if somebody wanted to knight me now, I'd tell them to go fucking shove it up their ass, because I don't want to be put into the same cast of deplorable bastards as they are. So yeah,
Exactly that.
but yes, it's almost as if they're trying to rub the good people's nose in it.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah,
It's just incredible.
I mean,
Yeah, it's just, it does feel like, I mean, why can't the majority of people see through this?
They can.
What is it that we can see that they can't see?
I think most people can see through it, but they just choose to just ignore it because it's too much of a thing. It's too big. When I was young, and this is all part of the education system, we were taught that here's the things that you need to know about. Those other things are too much. They're for intelligent people. Not that you're stupid, of course, but these people are very, 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 very intelligent, and they know so much more. And that's why they deal with, say, for instance, politics. This is why they deal with climate change. This is why they deal with the science, because these people are so much more clever than yourself that you shouldn't really try to understand this. This is out of your realms. What you need to know is how to be a good citizen, how to be a successful husband in the old days, right? Or how to be a sociopathic, narcissistic, fucking shopaholic wanker that wants to get credited up beyond belief, right? Whilst rubbing your fucking neighbor's nose in it, so he'll do the same, okay? And be a blue collar worker, but for fuck's sake, don't start thinking for yourself. And that's how the education system's been, and it's got worse and worse. Well, right up until the point where they went, actually, what we want to do is teach you everything that's really bad for your health and get you to believe it so that you can almost off your own people. And that's where they are.
Yeah.
And I was I was beginning to watch a documentary the other day about, say, for instance, when COVID hit, right? And it was how much the use of oil or how much the oil went down. Now, I'm thinking to myself that these people who are globalists own that oil, but it's a temporary thing. But at the time, there's all these oil tankers all parked up. And I was thinking, and how does that work? And they said that the COVID thing was the biggest transfer of wealth. Now, massive globalist companies that people like Sadiq Khan and others are, friends with, involved with, or whatever it is, can suck up a level of inactivity when it comes to business because they know it's all going to come back on board anyway. But while this is happening, the little people who don't have much floatable income, if you like, lose their business, lose their house, lose their savings, etc., etc. How is it that this trickle-down economics has made sure that people who are who had money in the past have none when we're poor, and the people at the top have become millionaires and billionaires? Why is it that during one of the worst pandemics made ever, right? People who were millionaires become billionaires? How is it that under the cost of living, the oil companies and the people who sell the food, like the Asda's and all the rest of it, how they've recorded record profits under a time when there's people that can't put the fucking heat on? Now, people can see this, but it just seems too much of a big thing for them to cope with. So I'll just deal with my life and try and get through. And
Yeah, but that's got to change at some point. There's got to be a penny drop moment, hasn't there? A point of no return, or
I think you're dealing with people who the penny kind of dropped, but it's easier to ignore because what about admitting you're part of the problem? I mean, a lot of the people that I grew up admiring and looking up to, now I would consider to be fully part of the problem because they were fully indoctrinated growing up to believe that the most important thing was to work hard, get a career, get a house, have a missus and kids, right? Have 2 holidays, all right? And to think about me, right? While slowly moving away from the religion of the country. And a lot of people say, yeah, but religion's just a man-made, organized fucking thing to keep you controlled. Well, if this had been a strictly, and I mean fucking brutally strictly Christian country, then we probably wouldn't have put up with what Islam's been putting us through. And also we wouldn't put up with all the degenerates, but that's another story for another day. However, when you look at it, people were trained over the last 100 years, more so in recent years, to don't worry about him next door. You worry about yourself. And I remember my dad saying, don't think about what he's doing. Think about what you're doing. Like, right. But all of these little one-liners that he used to come out with, mind your own business, right?
Yeah.
And all of these other ones that your parents would come out with, right? If you break your legs, don't come running at me. I never did work that one out. But the things that they used to come out with, right? My mother used to say this. When you're a kid and you like start feeling, she'd say, if you pick your head and pick your nose, your head will cave in. I was like, fuck me, don't want to do that then. Yeah. But anyway, we were all taught slowly but surely to pull away from the group. All right. And to think of ourselves because they had to do this. If you'd have taken, say, for instance, 1940s English men, and then you'd have told them the truth about what's going on, right? And who's doing it. Because it wasn't Islam planning this, by the way. Some of you in the chat, you don't have to put the name, will know who's behind it, right? But you use your 2 enemies to fight each other. I'll go back to the story, right? So slowly but surely, they've killed anything that brought men together, right? But in 1940s England, right, say for instance, late 40s, if you'd have said to all of these men and you'd given them all the evidence, these are the people that control the banking. These are the people that control the media. These are the people that control what you see, what you do. These are the people that are now finding themselves in political systems, that find themselves into the new things that they're building, like the European Union as it became, but wasn't at the time. These are the people that are demanding a place for themselves. These are the people who are, quite frankly, got the ump with us for reasons. Okay, not all, but some. And these are the people that have managed over the last 2 wars to make sure that you borrowed money and that you lost your empire, Britain, okay, because they bankrupt you on a war that needn't not have happened because they funded all sides. And now what they're going to do now is ruin your country, ruin your heritage, get you outbred by people who fucking hate you and don't stand for your values. They'll kill your religion off. They'll bankrupt even harder your country, and they'll take any money that you've had passed down to you that you want to pass down to your kids. They're going to take all that and asset strip you, so you're just literally living on the breadline. If you'd have told all these people that then, what you'd have had is you'd have had civil war the next day. But these people controlled our media, so they've always painted the people they don't like as the aggressor. They've always painted, in our case, when you looked at our wars that we had further afield, because during the Cold War, we used to go and fight the Russians on somebody else's turf. We never went straight to them and they never came straight to us. But what we did is we managed to have wars in countries where we wanted to change the regime or where we wanted to win favor with them because of reasons. We've gone to war for things that really we should have had nothing to do with, but we're just expendable. But at the moment, because they don't want a world war, all right? I mean, this thing that's going on with Germany, right? Not Germany, bloody Russia. what the problem is Russia and a few other people do not want to trade in the petrodollar. All right, that's one thing, and they want to start trading in their own currency, which is BRICS. Is it
BRICS? Yeah, BRICS nations. Yeah,
and I know that's part of the reason they don't want that to succeed. But also, all the time we're worried about, say, for instance, the Russians going to do this. We've got our eye off the ball of what's actually happening. We're having more of our laws change. We're having our country flooded by people who despise us. We're having people up and down the country systematically abused, raped. We're having people being forced out of their homes because the beautiful religion of peace wants to move into that and colonize that area. We're losing cities because they're being colonized by Islam. But all the time we're looking over at somebody who could throw a nuke at us and kill us outright, right? Because that's obviously, you prioritize your fear, don't you? Depending on where you are and what you are. So me living in 1960s village here, allegedly, if I was a lefty, my biggest fear would be if the Russians push the button and nuke me, because that's my biggest threat. Speak to somebody in Bradford, their biggest threat is the religion and peace. Speak to somebody in London, and depending on what race you are, if you're or you live in a mixed race area, your biggest problem is, are your kids going to go out and get stabbed to death by another one? That kind of thing. If you're going out shopping, naturally, you got to worry whether somebody's going to fucking run you over. But all of this stuff has been done on purpose. None of this is by mistake. All of this. Nothing can happen without huge levels of planning. They don't go out this month and think, well, next month what we're going to do, because they have to have their most intelligent people go through every scenario possible to work out how they can do this. And the
way they get away with it, is the snowball rolls very, very slowly, bit by bit, gaining pace, gaining weight and size.
Well,
so most people just don't see it for what it actually is.
It is the boiling frog thing, isn't it? But one day they do wake up, because all of a sudden the kid comes home and the kid's either been radicalized or something worse. But we've talked about this before, that in 2014, they'd run all these computer programs of how they could carry on in control of the financial system, keeping control of the population of the world, especially Europe, America, and places like that. And they worked out that all models led to eventually us lot waking up and going lunatic and trying to fix the situation in the way that we would. And it was at that point that I think they decided that the best thing that we can do then is just turn the countries to absolute civil war, where we'll send in an insurgent army in there to either outbreed them or fight them. Okay. And at that point, these will whittle down the numbers. I mean, I don't know how much the numbers would be whittled down, because when you look at sort of places that have had civil war, how many people get killed? And it's usually the fighting generation. So what's going to be the next generation after that? And I can't say that, say, for instance, a lot of the younger generation at the moment are capable. They're not physically capable or mentally capable. But
I don't even know what sex they are yet.
But that's the plan, isn't it? You derange a load of them so they're useless. All right. And then what happens? The ones that are actually probably right-wing, or at least clued up, the ones that are still fit enough and useful enough to actually provide some sort of whatever, you send them more, get them killed, and now you actually have a bunch of passive who will take whatever because they can't fight back.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
So we have problems, but not everything always goes the way that these people plan. As you can see,
there's always an inevitability, isn't there, of a backlash at some point, and it's what that inevitability or that backlash actually turns out to be.
You look at, say, for instance, the most dangerous thing in the world is a wounded tiger, because it will fight like fuck. You look at what is the most dangerous man, the man who has nothing left to lose.
Yeah.
And everything to gain, which is why Islam, these radicals, are so dangerous, because they're quite happy to die because the next place is better for them.
Yeah.
So,
how
how do you
beat somebody who's got mentality?
Matrix has you. Sober Rev, far more on point. Thank you very much. I actually do feel more on point today. We even set up so it worked. But we have at the moment the youth who don't believe what they're told because they had to go through school learning what it is that they wanted to hear you say, what it actually was the truth, okay, and what was the lies. So these kids had to do a lot more, and they grew up on. I know that, say, for instance, I've talked to this before, but some of you might have heard it. My daughter said to me, she said, while I'm at uni, it was college, not uni. She said part of our answers were they give you 4 news outlets. Which one is the most trustworthy? And if you didn't put the BBC front and center, right, as the most trustworthy, you failed. Now, she said, most of us knew it was all bullshit, so we're just putting down what they want you to hear. It's a bit like the bloke who's trying to chat up the woman because he wants to get a blowjob at the end of the night, isn't it? He'll tell her whatever she wants to hear so he can get the result if he's a bit that way inclined. Right? Whereas with me, I'd be like, fuck it. No, I'm not one of them. But anyway, it is a bit like that. So it's, to be honest, my daughter had to grow up in such a way that she had to educate herself as much as her generation did. Hang on a second. Simon, you need to get off your ass and UNN News with the Emperor David. I don't know who he is. Anyway, but yeah, so it's a mad time at the moment, right? And things are, as I said, had to get worse. Now, if you thought 24 was bad, it's fuck all.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they're going to try and take out Trump again, right? Because why not? Because they've had a go once already. And I should imagine there'll be a few others who, if they start talking sense, will be like seen as legitimate targets. The left, when Trump gets in, will lose a shit. I mean, on a dating profile, right? I look at these dating profiles. No Trump supporters, no Brexiteers, no this, that, and the other, these dating sites, and they're all full of failed, useless, blue-haired, strong and independent fucking wankers, right? And I'm thinking, I mean, there's just a litany of these left, and I'm thinking, why are there no right-wing women? Oh, yeah. Because they actually are all right.
Well, perhaps the depopulation thing might not be a bad idea after all, then.
Well, there's a lot of them. There's so many of them. They're at 40 years old with no kids. Now, that's up to them, isn't it, right?
Yeah.
Personally, it's like this. If you can't have a kid because of physical reasons, I'm really sorry for you. I generally am, all right? And also, if you really did want a kid and you couldn't have it for physical reasons, there are some kids out there that need adopting. You know, have you ever looked at that? However, right, there's many over there that I wouldn't bring a kid into this world. That's the whole fucking purpose of you. Otherwise, you're a parasite, you fuckwit. But you read the status, right? I've traveled all over the world. I'm educated. I've got a degree. What in? Strong and independent. My kids come first. I don't want, and all the rest of it. And I'm not going down a woman fucking bashing road, but these seem to be predominantly lefty women. And the reason the right women aren't fucking single is because they're not as difficult to date. Now, men and women nowadays, this is another part of that thing. The reason you need to like weaken a society is you need to turn it on itself, right? So what did they do? You look at the, say, for instance, the 70s and stuff like that. Do you remember when they started putting couples out there on the funny stuff that you used to see on the BBC, the ITV or whatever? They always made out the man to be the idiot and the woman to be the strong and independent one, didn't they, right? You noticed, right? And it was always take the piss out of the men. Then, as you went to the 80s, you had the adverts where the woman was the clever one of the house and the bloke's useless and he can't shop. And it was all about demeaning the bloke and trying to educate women that actually you don't have to listen to him, you're better, right? Now, we've been through the point where they decided that what they wanted to do was send all the women out to work saying you shouldn't rely on him because you can earn your own money and you can be strong and independent. And they fucked the economy. Well, they fucked blue collar workers because basically they flooded the market with unskilled labor and dropped the money. But all of these,
the family unit up.
Exactly that, right? So who looks after the kid now, right? Whereas the best person to look after the kid is the mother, right? End of, right? However, all of this stuff was planned and done by people who understood psychology. I mean, when you look at one of the best psychologists, he was the one that came up with what the documentary was called, The Century of Self. And it comes to me, what's his name's cousin. But anyway, what they did was they used psychology against men, against women, to get them to either start something that was bad for them, to buy something they didn't need, to fall out with
Yeah.
each other, to become strong and independent. Now, there's nothing strong and independent, right? Or independent is not particularly brilliant when you could be better as a couple. You look at a man and a woman. A man has skills a woman doesn't. A woman has skills a man doesn't. Women are primarily better at like nurturing the child, while the bloke's better at building, gathering, hunting, whatever.
Yeah.
But when you indoctrinate a place, a continent, if you want, because it's funny because you didn't see them doing this in Israel, did you? And you didn't see them getting away with it in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Middle East, man knows his place, and he gets battered by the other man if he doesn't keep up with it, whether I like that or not.
Yeah.
And a woman, if she goes out and starts free thinking for herself or dressing whatever way or whatever it is, God knows what happens to her. Now, while I don't agree in that, and I don't like the ideology, it does keep its people in place. Now, if you look at, say, for instance, Judaism, the man's still the man, okay? They stick by their religion, right? And they don't enter into a load of this stuff. So why is it that Christianity had to be destroyed? Why is it Christianity had to start celebrating kids cutting the bits off and, you know, all the rest of it? And it is all about breaking down our society, and it's working very well. Fuck me, we got nearly 900 people watching. Get in. Over the
That's because I phoned in.
It's because you come in, my son. You strengthened it. But yeah, I mean,
just
go on.
Yeah, just another side angle on this one. Bradford, the new city of culture.
Fuck off.
Really?
What?
Yep.
What? Somewhere where you can go and get an honest curry? Is it? Is that what they're saying? I mean,
That's what they're saying.
What do you call culture? I mean, my idea of culture is, say, for instance, when you look at the history of that place, and they've improved the people within it. They've gone to new shores. They've explored. They've built stuff. They've made drains. I the Romans did that.
Yeah.
What do the Romans ever do for us? But you know what I mean, right? And when they've come up with all the different things that make their people happier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look at the culture, say, for instance, with Islam, which would be a lot to do with that city of culture, this is all part of them demeaning your common sense, laughing at you. I mean, who do you think came up with this that didn't think that it would infuriate the average white man? And that's exactly what all of these things are made to do.
It would be interesting to know who was on the committee that voted for that and why.
Fucking
Who were the closer contenders?
99.9% of them would have been fucking either Islamists or Islam enablers and lefties who just want to suck hard on the cock of Islam. Literally. Anything for Islam.
Depressing, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but I mean, they've got the shit houses, isn't they? I mean, left of the, basically, somebody put a meme out, but leftism is a cult of self-hatred and self-destruction that wants nothing more than to destroy its own from inside and out, right? And
it's a disease.
They'll use whatever they can to destroy everything about them, everything that made them, their history, their culture. I mean, they like tearing down old buildings and sticking up some metal shit. They've got no problem with Islam buying or taking hold of a Christian church, right, and turning it into a mosque. They like to see that because they know it'll upset the right wing. And these left have been completely turned into weak soldiers. I'll explain that, right? They fight for an enemy. They are
they're fighting they're fighting to bring their own demise. Yeah. They don't care.
And they all want to outdo each other, rushing towards that final thing. These were the kids at school that they weren't very good. In the old days, they weren't very good. They were just, how do you put this? I knew a few of them. They were like the ones that dressed in dowdy gear and always walked around with the They looked like goths, right? And they were just miserable cunts. And even when you try to approach them and say, look, mate, do you want to join in? No, I'm going home. You're going, fuck off, you miserable prick.
Yeah, I've got to go and revise.
Yeah, but mind you, you think about it, these ones that went home and swatted up and did all this because they wanted to be bright and more intelligent, these were the ones that were also easy indoctrinated because they're good learners. They will repeat. They don't think for themselves. They're just told how to repeat stuff. And that's what our education system's about.
Yeah.
But the time that, say, for instance, most of us were going, this is bollocks, I'm not fucking interested, or went out and actually had a life, went out in cars, or went out and had a few drinks, or went out and got laid, or whatever it was, right? These people were working their way up in a position and then ended up being found and networked around, say, for instance, organizations, secret organizations, or organizations of secrets, or they might, say, for instance, joined other organizations where they could change the direction of the country or direction of what organization they're in without, say, for instance, democracy. Because there's nothing that Marxism hates more than people and democracy. So it basically tells people that democracy's bad and that Marxism's good. It brainwashes these lefty wankers. Common purpose, cheers, Blaze, and basically makes them believe that what they're going to do is they'll be looked upon in the future as a great person. So there it is. Never say sorry for their crimes. True. Yeah, that's it, isn't it? There are many people that when they commit crimes and they're from a religious cult, and there's two of them I can think of immediately, that whenever they do what they do, there is no apologies. They did it and they were right to do it, or whatever, or it's tough shit. Fuck me, we're 900 watching now. Get in. Well, we're doing all right.
Yeah. If I stay on for a little bit longer, will we get 1,000, do you reckon?
Well, you never know. We can try. So if you're watching this, any chance, like, share, subscribe. And if you are watching it, thanks very much. If you want to come on, by the way, in the comment, put it in the comments if you want to come on, you want to chat, just put, I want to come on so I can see there's a lot of other people waiting. Otherwise, we'll carry on talking. But what age group are you in at the moment, if you don't mind me asking?
Late 50s.
So you'll remember the fun of the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
But that was when there was massive change. That was when the European Union was being turned into what it actually is. And to be honest, that was when they brought about yuppies and stuff like that. And it was cool to run around with the latest like suits on and the posh cars and your Filofax and drinking wine. And going to all these wanky little bars where you thought about yourself and nobody else. It's It was a time of change. It was a time when, say, for instance, the gay movement, where pride was coming out a lot more on the streets, and it was more acceptable to be openly, outwardly gay. It was a time when, you could go against your parents a lot more. If you remember the 80s, we had a lot of the hippie movement on the road, didn't we? Yeah. Well, it seems that they got off the road and then got into fucking other places, and they're still out there being absolute wankers. But there it is. So, yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, I got to the point before Christmas, but I wasn't very well. And I was thinking, do I actually need to keep talking? Because surely people must get it by now. I mean, I must be just fucking talking for the sake of it here. But it seems that people are new to the scene. And you need to reiterate to people who haven't heard already to set them off down a path. Because once you've lit the touch paper on somebody and they have woken up, that's it. They'll either go back. I can't see anybody doing that. So, but if you're like me and you watch other live streams and other people, of note, you still pick up things that you never cottoned onto. That it's always worth saying things because you say that is it worth me carrying on? Because if people aren't waking by now, they're not going to wake up. I think I went through that process, but I think actually people need to hear those little comments. And it may be, I might go on a live stream and somebody will say something and I thought, no, I never thought of it like that before. Yeah, it's true. So I think everything is important. Everything is important. Yeah, I've had it a few times when I've been looking at stuff lately and gone, fuck, I'd never thought of that. Wow. Yeah. So I think that's the key to it. I think we all need to keep talking and phoning in and, I think we all do need to keep doing this. This is good. Well, and as we hurtle towards 2030, I think it's going to get a lot more worse than this. I know it's going to get a lot worse because it's an inevitability. I mean, numbers are building, strength is building within other groups. You would think that an army that's winning would not need to kick off in the way that they have kicked off, right? But they still do. I mean, Islam will fight amongst itself. So there's always going to be, even though they're winning and within 2035, the demographics will be horrendous. I mean, when you got the likes of Farage talking openly about demographics, when we talked about it 10 years ago, he called us racist. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, when you've got these politicians outwardly talking about what we were talking about 10 years ago, you know that it's got to such a situation now that we're fucked. But that doesn't mean we're going to take it and put up with it, whatever. What'll happen is, I think there's just going to be a lot of colonization in areas where it'll just be white people or black people in that area or Muslims in that area. And what you'll have is you'll have us wanting to be left alone and the others not wanting to leave us alone. Yeah. And I'm not talking about the black people, by the way, here, right? I'm just saying what happened is the black people will be weaponized by the media, by the government to feel afraid of white people, and the whites are the problem, right? And they'll also be victimized by Islam because Islam doesn't like, or they'll be turned. And also we'll all be turned against each other. And it will just keep going because the people who are controlling the media, who control the direction of the planet, want to keep going with this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. I agree. Totally agree. Anyway, lovely talking to you, mate. I'm glad you're feeling better. I'll leave someone else to get on now and have a chat.
Okay, bud.
Follow it.
No worries, mate. Will you take it steady?
Thanks for the time.
All right, bud. Catch you in a bit.
Yeah. Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
And there you go. Great caller. Yeah. You offend Muslims. So, I don't give a shit. Definitely talking to the wrong person if you're worried about people getting offended. China won't accept Islam. No, they won't. Yes, it says Jesus ain't saving no one, my friend. Yeah, basically you save yourself. That's how it works. If you're waiting for some entity or if you're waiting for some great leader to come out of prison or come out of wherever it is and save your ass, forget it. Do it yourself. Hello.
Hello, is that Rev?
It is.
Excellent. I actually got through. I didn't think I would do. How are you doing, mate? I wanted to ring up and say hello and have a chat with someone who's actually sane for a change.
Yeah, it's a bit like that these days, isn't it? I mean, you can easily piss people off quite these days, but yeah. So what are you thinking? What's on your mind?
Well, I don't know. I was a bit skeptical about talking because technically speaking, I guess I'm more left wing than I am right wing, but I mean, it's more economically speaking. I tend to agree with what people call the right wing nowadays on the cultural stuff.
Yeah.
Quite heavily. So you end up being more so politically homeless. But I do think, in all honesty, I think there's a lot of people who fall into that category. I think the general, the general sense of most people is more, centralist and a bit more, for lack of a better word, normal-minded. Do you know what I mean?
So if I told you I did that political test and it had me leaning to the left, what would you think?
I don't think it really means anything. No. I try and sway away from this stuff, to be quite honest myself personally. I don't like the whole left wing, right wing bullshit. I think it's just used as a weapon nowadays to shut people up on both sides or something.
We use it as a term because it's easier, but it actually is now pretty much antiquated because it's about people who use common sense and want to do the right thing, and then people who have been indoctrinated and want to do what they're told. There are people within the left who can see what's going on and go, don't like this. And I mean, there are people in the left that, economically speaking, believe in sort of things like the NHS, which I do, right? And believe that things like the steel should have been owned by, Great Britain. So British Steel, British Coal, British Rail. All of these things should have stayed in-house and owned by the people, right? So that's socialism a little bit, isn't it? Or whatever. But if you look at it, it's common sense. Because obviously, when you look at, say, for instance, the railways and things like that, there's somebody in the middle taking the jam out of the donut, whereas that money could have gone better elsewhere. But anyway, that's another thing. There are a lot of people from centrist slightly left and slightly right who will agree on most things but have a slight variation. So the left-right dichotomy probably, we should get rid of it, but at the moment it just seems easier for people to understand. But what there definitely is people who are fucking insane and people that hate our way of life. And you get that from other religions. You get that from extremes. I mean, when you know the horseshoe effect, when you look at, say, for instance, the extreme right and the extreme left, there's not a great deal of difference in them in many ways. But that won't
No,
please.
I do agree with you that. I think you're very right on that. That's kind of what I was getting at, really, is I think that it's just a lot of the time the framing of stuff is used by either side. Like whether someone's really hard left, like you said, they'll turn around and they'll call someone a fascist just because they don't want to have their borders open. And like alternatively, you'll get people on the other side calling someone a Marxist who might very well just be a little bit to the left, like on some stuff, but they're just a bit more sensible minded, but they might be a little bit left leaning. And I do think if we can kind of unify people like that a little bit, then we'd get a bit more ground. Because at the end of the day, I do feel a lot of the problem that both sides have is with the government. It's the government that's screwing us over, whatever side of the aisle you lean on to.
But that's the purpose, to turn us on each other. Because if we all got along, we'd all go and turn on them. And that's the last thing they want. 100%. I mean, the people, if they're united, are just an unbelievable threat to the system, and the system needs to keep control.
Yeah, I do think that's very much the case. I mean, I think I try and avoid using the word NPC, but a lot of the people you deal with are very much like that. Like they're quite happy to just, I don't know, whether they're watching the football or watching Strictly Come Dancing or some trivial shit like that. They're happy to just live the boring little life and carry on as long as their like little piece of happiness is okay. But they don't see the bigger picture of like the damage that it's doing to the world. It's like I think it was yesterday. Like a foreign government hacked America. And like, I mean, I know it's a bit off topic, but like, there's loads of little things like this that are happening. And like, Facebook have started adding AI profiles to their site. When it was only last year, they were whining incessantly about saying that Russia colluded by using bots. So I mean, the whole world's a little bit crazy at the minute. And I think I do think people need to unite a little bit more around the things that they actually agree on, because there's plenty of stuff we do agree on. Like, I mean, the state of the money, like whether you're left or right, most people can see that the cost of living is going incessantly higher. And it's because they keep printing money. And like, we all know what's going to happen. When it eventually crashes, they'll bail out all the big banks. They'll bail out all the multimillionaires. And it'll be people like myself, people like you, who are left to foot the bill.
Literally
and
struggling
they'll just continue to keep doing it. It's ridiculous. But
do you know what really unites the people?
Kind of where I'm at.
Is if you look when there's a flood, right? All of that people around there, left, right, centrist, okay, all of them come out and get along and forget about their problems when they're trying to fix the immediate threat. And it's only after the threat fucks off that they decide, well, we won't bother again, because that's just the way we've been bred. But I think things will get that bad that basically people just with common sense will network with each other, and they'll put what they used to stick by aside. I mean, take, for instance, when I use Northern Ireland, right? You've got Catholics and Protestants that you're out there killing each other for years. And now I sat around the table talking because the threat at the moment over there is far worse, because they've had immigration ramped up. So they've got, it's over a quarter of the population now is foreign, predominantly Islamic, right? It's over a quarter, and I predicted that it would rise, but I didn't predict it by that much. And they're now a massive problem. I mean, there's people from both Catholic and Protestant that have been out there being attacked. You know, these other people don't decipher the difference, and their own.
I think probably going to get worse, sadly, as well, because it's just, I don't know. That's the told immigration. I mean, this is where I disagree with a lot of people who are like, I don't know, quote unquote left leaning, really, but like, because a lot of them don't see the root cause of the problem, like the screaming for their own demise. Like a lot of the people who are calling to have uncapped immigration, the people they're bringing in would quite happily execute them in a heartbeat. It's ridiculous, but the actual immigration number is far higher than what they're saying it is. I reckon it's more near 80 million than it is 68 million. It's insane, and we're an island, but you know, no one seems to see the bigger picture, and it will all end up suffering if someone doesn't do something about it soon.
You know these, like, we'll call them lefties or these extremists, right? That want open borders.
Personally, I just call them retards. Like whether they're a right wing retard or a left wing retard, they're just a retard, and I think people should just call them that, just an idiot. Like, and you know, for lack of a better word.
But they're not that stupid, because I tell you what, if for instance they were gay, right? Or whatever, or trans. Now, I'm just pointing out something here. And you said, you're so sure that Islam's such a great thing. Yeah? Fine. I'm now going to airlift you and drop you into some country that's really strict Islamic country. You would see them lose their shit. What are you worried about? Islam's the religion of peace. You've got nothing to worry about. You've said this. And they'd lose their shit because they don't actually believe truly what they're saying. They're saying it to try and look good in front of people.
Yeah, it is. And I think a lot of it comes from the society that we live in now. It's like all this like likes and clicks kind of nonsense that we live in. But what they try and say a lot of the time is, and they use this as like the defense, which is quite frankly a little bit stupid, but they'll say, oh no, the people that are leaving that area, they're the people who don't want to live under that kind of regime. So they're the good ones. And it's like, all right, now that would make sense in a fairy tale world, but that's not the reality of the situation.
Right.
How it is really panning out is, let's look at it sensibly. Like if I ran a country in the middle of like the third world, sorry, just one sec. Oh, don't do that. If I ran a country in the middle of the third world and I thought to myself, there's a country that's accepting anybody in, like unchecked, uncapped immigration. The first thing I do was open my prisons and get rid of all the bottom, low end of my society, because what else would you do? That's what anyone in the right mind would do. And quite frankly, that's what they're doing.
Well,
like they're not sending the best and brightest, they're sending the lowest, and they're getting rid of all the shit, basically.
Well, there's a few answers you can give
it?
to their argument and say, look, what you're saying is what was the case, say, for instance, in the 50s and the 60s. The brightest and the best decided they wanted to make a better life for themselves, and then they fucked off to somewhere where they could do so, right? But these are people that came to work. What you're finding now is that there's things called NGOs, and they're over there literally spreading to all of these people who are looking to fuck off because they're either criminals, they've escaped convictions for all sorts of things, and they see this as their salvation. They can get across Europe having a whale of a time. All of their other friends are telling them exactly what they're up to, and there's no comeback. And you get literally this place is paved with gold, and sooner or later we're going to take it over. Yeah, you're going to get every shit house going. But it's
very true, and I think everyone's seen it play out. I mean, I've had it myself, and I'm sure other people have had it who are in who live here. It's like, say, for instance, if you don't pay your council tax, right, you'll quickly get people coming around here, and they'll start taking your stuff. They'll take you to court.
Mm-hmm.
They'll take all your shit. Whereas, like, if you come here as effectively a criminal, you'll get everything handed to you on a silver platter, like you're saying. I think the more people see that, the more they're slowly starting to have enough. I mean, there's a lot of people who I know who are outright saying, like, I don't want to take part anymore. Why should I take part in the system? Like, why shouldn't I just go to the doctor and say, I am depressed? Why would I not be depressed? Look at the state of the economy. Look at the state of the world. I don't want to work in this shit anymore.
The only people that can't be depressed...
That, though, it won't work, would it? But...
No, the only people that aren't depressed are the people that have got their head buried in the sand that don't see it. But the other thing, that if your friends are saying that, you know, these people are escaping, but they're very, very bright and all the rest of it, why is it that all the neighboring countries won't take them? Because they know that these people are not the people that they want. And if you speak to the countries that these people have come from, they said, no, you've just taken the bottom of the food wrong. These are the people that we didn't want. These are the people that we were trying to make sure that we had on our radar because they're problematic or because they do this, they do that. And now you've literally taken wholesale these fuckers out of our country. Cheers for that. And now you have yourself a problem. We're still... how would we
have a big problem? I mean, starting to see more of it in America. They had that recent, like, obviously, like, incident yesterday, but we're just going to see more and more stuff of that. But I mean, the Americans, thankfully, they've at least got someone there now who seems to be at least combating it. I mean, I do like a lot of the stuff that Trump says, but I do think that I think he's just part of the same regime, you know, very much the same thing. I think anyone who's in that kind of group is probably somewhat...
You wouldn't have got to that position unless you were controlled.
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, out of all the bad, he's probably the best they could get. And sadly, we don't really have that over here. I mean, I know a lot of people like Farage, and I do like a lot of the stuff he says, but I do think he's probably very much a bit similar. You know, I don't think he stood up as much for the UKIP people as he probably could have done when he had to. But
I was in UKIP at the time, going to meetings and stuff, and when he realised that the right wing were actually coming on, and they were inviting people like TR in there and other stuff, he called them all racists. He also, while he was running the place, had the place running in the red rather than the black. Also, after
a few things like that.
When they become so powerful, he had to destroy it, right? And he put after he jacked, because he never expected us to actually get out of the European Union. he then put a litany of idiots in there to try and destroy. And then when Batten got in there, Batten doubled the amount of people that were members and also got it from out of the red into the black. And then literally he set up another party to combat that because he couldn't control it. No, Farage is literally a controlled fucking bloke who's now saying everything that we've been saying before. Do you remember when he said I was the first to bring up these people, the migrants? No, he won't. The BNP were talking about it long before that, and there were people who were out there on the shores, right wingers, who were pointing it out. And he then just found out about their stuff because these people have people searching the right-leaning social media and all the rest of it for stuff that's going on, and they cherry pick what they want to talk about to appeal to people. They're not stupid. So
no, of course not. They'll probably use AI and all sorts. Like, because I mean, to be honest, the UK is probably the worst. We do have it quite bad over here. I don't think people quite realise just how bad it is. I mean, we're probably the most CCTV covered nation in all of the world besides China. And they use AI. They've got ANPR. They do facial recognition.
Mhm.
It's quite a lot worse than what people realise what it is. I mean, and that's like, we're meant to be quite a liberal and free country. Like, if anything is worthwhile knowing to people, the one and only thing that you can do in this country that is still somewhat liberal is you can actually change your name quite quickly and effectively. And if you ever have any trouble with things, like, obviously I wouldn't, say to break the law, but you should probably do that before they think about changing that. You know, if you have any reason to change your name, because it's the only thing that we still do quite liberally. Like, literally anything else you can't do. Like, you can barely do anything in this stupid country anymore.
No, there's a MP at the moment that's changed his names 4 times. Now, Sarah said, you used to love Nigel. Yeah, I did. I thought he was the saviour. And then I looked into him more and more, and then looked at the people that he worked with and looked at the people that he speaks to now. And I've looked at the way that he's pulled out the last minute and folded stuff and organised stuff to actually stop any true right-wing movement going. And he's teamed up with a load of other globalist fucktards, and he is controlled. Now, people don't like that, but there it is.
No, I think you are right. You know, I do feel like, I might be wrong here, but I do feel I don't want to clog up your phone line either too long, so I'm not going to stay on for ages. I'm sure there's other people who want to speak too, but I think a lot of these people, it seems like they get rocked out just when the time's right. It's like when there seems to be a lot of like popular opinion and people are slowly starting to change and they're seeing the reality of the situation, you get one of these shitheads rolled out and they start saying all the stuff that are like, I don't know, like very, very convenient things to say, and then they can quite easily label these people as a racist. And it's like, well, it's just a little all too convenient for me. And I think people are slowly starting to wake up to it. Like, even the people who would usually get called left, like leaning people by like people who are like more traditionally minded. But I do think there is a lot more change coming about than people realize, because like I wouldn't have I don't know, normally, I don't know. I think there's a lot of change going on personally, and I think what you guys are doing here is something really good. So I definitely stick at it, mate.
Well, I like the people ringing in, especially if you can get people from the left, because people from the left who speak common sense like you bridge the gap. So it makes it better for us. Like, so we think maybe when the time comes, whatever that is, that we'll be able to get along and work together for a more effective resolution to the current problems that we suffer. So, yeah. So this is when the call-in works at its best, when somebody says, well, actually, I'm allegedly from a sort of slightly different political side to you, but we get along on this, and this, and we agree on this, and this. So it's good. So, yeah.
Well, I think the main reason why I fall into like the left wing, I think, is like I work in like the technology sector, so like a lot of the people that I work with are like that way inclined, and like but I suppose, like, if anything, I lean more towards like a more libertarian view when it comes to like the economy. Really, I just don't really like how it is now. I think we essentially live in a very, I don't know, oppressive times when it comes to a lot of stuff, and I don't really like it. But that used to be what the left used to talk about. That's what's kind of crazy. I mean, you'll remember this yourself, because we seem similar age, but they used to actually talk about free speech. Like, it was the left many years ago when the Bush administration were in. It was all the religious zealots, if you remember, who were saying like, "Oh, you can't play Grand Theft Auto, or you'll go out and kill people." And they used to say, "Oh, you're not allowed to say this, you can't say that." It was actually the left-wing people, the supposed horrible left. They were the ones who stood up for the Nazis. They actually let the Nazis speak. Which, you know, that now would be unheard of, but they were the most pro free speech people going, and they've gone
But-
so far the other way that most of them don't even see how far they've gone to become the oppressor. It's quite frankly quite scary, really.
The thing is, one of the predominant things about the left is they want to. A lot of them want to care. A lot of them want to be lovey-dovey. A lot of them are like peaceful types, right? Originally, and they wanted to see that the people were all right and people were getting on. And they didn't like all the hate and all the rest of it. And yet, you look at history, right? The hippie movement embraced the VW Beetle and the VW camper van, right? They made this their vehicle of choice, right? Peace and love and all the rest of it, not really thinking that it had been designed and engineered to mobilize Nazi Germany. Nobody thought about that, right? And I think that with the left, they were used. And I think a lot of them were misguided people that wanted to look like they cared, wanted to do something that was good. Not all of them, obviously. And got used by an organization or whatever you call it, a system that used them as the, pardon it, unfortunately, the useful idiots, as they would have called them, right? And we can play on their heartstrings and get them to agree with us, and we'll use them. And I think that's what's been happening. Now, these poor people are suffering in that country. They've been oppressed and they're going to be killed and they're going to be this and that. And don't you want to try and save them? Well, yeah, of course I do. Oh, we'll let them in. Yeah, that's a good idea. That is a simple analogy, but that's part of what it was. And now, I mean, you had the left out there, they wanted to ban the bomb. Don't blame them. Fucking horrible thing. You had the left out there marching for gay rights. Well, gays should have rights. You know, you had a lot of people out there who were left, who were marching for, you know, say, for instance, in America, they were marching for civil rights. They were marching in yet again, Ireland for civil rights. They were marching for one man, one vote. You know, they were marching for, you know, non-segregation of blacks and whites over in New Orleans and places like that. All of this stuff the left were doing because they believed in it. And to be honest, it was a kind thing, but they've been hijacked. That's what I think.
Yeah, but the thing is, do you not think now they're like, what? I don't know. This is where, again, I disagree with a lot of people who are like traditionally left. But like, what rights do gay people not have today? There isn't any.
They have more rights. And to be honest,
exactly. So I mean, why? Well, I don't understand what they've got to protest about anymore. Like, they've got all the rights. They can get married. They can do what they want. You know, fine. But I mean, if anything, it's gone a little bit too far. It's gone far too. Like, when was it okay for children to be around? Like, you know, that kind of, I don't know. I think it's devolved into something far beyond what it was originally. Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head earlier when you said that a lot of the time people aren't actually bothered about the good thing. They're actually bothered about looking good.
Yeah.
In front of others. Like, more the perception of looking good. Because like every single one of these retards has a phone that comes from like a sweatshop in the middle of China where all the minerals from it are mined by children with the bare hands, and they don't give a shit about that. So it's just, I don't know. I think, like I say, I think a lot of it's just stupidity. But I think, I hope that it's slowly coming to a change, because I don't know. I hope so anyway.
These are the same people that when I look on the dating app and I see them and they're in the middle of this black place holding a child. Right, look at me, I care. And then they're there with a fucking animal and they're stroking the animal, not realizing it's been drugged just so it doesn't attack them, so they can have a picture taken. You know, it's all about looking good. But we did this, or they did this with this thing here. As soon as this goes ping, you get a dopamine rush. So when they send a picture out there, oh, look at me, I care, right? The more pings that they get, the more dopamine they get. But the thing is, the other people have to put a thumbs up to that, so other people see that they give a shit. It's this fucking cult of look at us, we're great, and the right do it as well. The right do it on certain stuff, and you're like, fuck me, can you not see this?
Yeah, well, that's what I found. I mean, I must admit, that's the only reason why I didn't overly get on with the right, is like there's certain things that I do within my lifestyle that they don't like. I'm not gay, that's not what I'm saying. I'm like very straight, so like before anyone in chat like loses their fucking mind or something. I just I like some drugs, and I'm not really into religion, so it's like those things are very traditionally, like a lot of right, really leaning and traditional people are like, oh no, you can't do things like that. And I don't know. I think things are slowly starting to change, because I've met quite a few people who definitely you would call them right wing, who are like a lot more like in my camp with the other things. So I don't know. I hope that slowly over time people can maybe unify just for the side of good, really, and common sense would be nice.
Somebody just put there, Rev, why have you got a smartphone? A, because you can't use your old phones. They don't work. B, because I use it to do social media. and get the message across about what's happening regarding immigration and all the rest of it. And see, it's already been made, all right, by these people that sweat. And I might as well use it to good, use it for the good, rather than say, for instance, take pictures of my food and post it or whatever.
I do that.
Oh,
I
dear.
take pictures of my food.
You need to.
And for the tech savvy of you out there, what you can do, is there's a little device called a Raspberry Pi. If you get that and you get a 3D printer, and you can get a few little components, you can actually make your own laptop pretty easy. There's a few videos on how to do it. It's like pretty easy, and then you don't have to deal with any anyone looking at your data or anything because you're controlling it all yourself. You can even put like Ubuntu in there, so you can use like your own operating system, so you don't have to use Windows and stuff. So it's like completely off the grid. That's what hackers do.
I've stopped using so much of my social media for anything personal. I use it as, say, for instance, Facebook to say I'm doing a live stream, or as also a directory to all the people you want to get in touch with, or they get in touch with you. But other than that, telling people what you're doing, where you're going, and all the rest of it plays into it. So yeah, but there it is. Anyway, look.
No, I don't do stuff like that. I have a social media for my work, but I don't have a personal one or anything. But it's probably the best way to be.
Well, if you're working in that environment, it's best not to put what you're doing and because they really do scrutinize each other, don't they?
Yeah, no, they do. Well, I have like separate. I must say it's a bit bad. I have like a separate account for like I talk a bit more loosely on than I have one that's like because I have like my own company and stuff now. To be a bit like like prim and proper and all that kind of jazz. But yeah, but that's where I've noticed things are slowly changing. Like it's more so in the interactions between people, in like the back end of stuff. You can just feel there's a slight change. Like even just in people's vernacular when they're talking to each other, people are a lot more. Like I was talking to a guy the other day and he was using "gay" as a pejorative. He went, "Oh, don't do that. It's gay." And I was like, all right, hang on a minute. I thought, are we coming back to a bit of normality again? But hopefully, maybe. But,
yeah, I mean,
it was really lovely talking.
When we used to take the piss and say stuff that was edgy, they do it. We do it. You know what I mean? It's just taking the piss. It's not meant with any great amount of fucking dislike or hatred. It's just what it was. But,
no, of course it's not. I think for a lot of people that I don't know, that kind of like feeling and how people were in the 90s was very much like I don't know, a very nice feeling for everyone, because you could say stuff like that then. You could have a bit of a laugh. You could mock each other on your appearance, on even like race and stuff, and people didn't take themselves too seriously. And I think if we can get back to just that, that'd be fantastic.
I agree. Fuck it, just being normal, that's all. Well,
yeah, 100%.
I'm going to see if anybody else wants to ring in. We're doing all right at the moment, I'll be honest. So, yeah, well, look, call it again.
Nice talking to you, man. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no, we'll do. Yeah, but keep doing what you're doing as well. It's and I'll make sure I'm following a little bit more and listening. But yeah, no, thank you very much for having a chat. Really cool.
Cheers, buddy.
And, Happy New Year.
And you, mate. See you in a bit.
Bye.
Fuck me. So the questions come up in chat. Am I controlled? Fucking hell. Yeah, of course. Don't you see all the fucking money? Oh yeah, this is the only fucking room. I haven't got wood chip, but I take it off, didn't I? It is what it is. And don't forget, if I was controlled, I'd have to be putting out a lot more fucking content than I'm doing right now. And I wouldn't be able to question people. You know the ones. Yeah, retarded. Word to ban. Remote controlled. Anybody remember having a VHS video with a cable that went all the way across the room with the remote on it? Because I remember as a kid tripping over that and the old deer kicking off. Right, what we got? I push back against homosexuality. Excellent, that should work. What have we got? People that they think are controlled. Well, there's a thing for you. Why don't you put who you think's controlled in the chat? That'd be an interesting concept, wouldn't it? Reverend Saudi Arabia, drinking beer. Yeah, I'm kind of on a no alcohol January. Have you joined the Woodland Initiative yet, Simon? The fuck is that? No. What else we got? Is Crinkle around? Is he? I have not seen anything yet. Right, so we've got Neil Oliver. I2C. Ham radio, the way forward. Sideways, but in control. I like that. 90% of all CivNats. Ref, you're on remote control because you drone on. Laugh out loud. Very good. CB radios. Do you know what? I got CB, but I haven't got handle because Please let Crinkle call in. Paul Thorpe, okay. Jordan Peterson, definitely. The whole of the UK, because if you want to look at it. Simon, Google. Right, I spelled it. We got a call in now. Hello.
Hello, got a guitar for sale?
It's you again. All right, donkey. How's it
Have a
going?
good one, mate, did you?
Say again?
Do you have a good Christmas and New Year?
Oh, fuck that. I was ill all through it. I got ill a week before, and I stayed ill all the way through. It was fucking shit. Honestly,
Yeah.
I ended up on, and I hate antibiotics because, you know, and I didn't take them all, which somebody went mental at me for, but Sonia Polton, definitely. But yeah, I ended up on them and some fucking steroid spray, but it did work because literally I couldn't breathe at one point.
Mm.
But yeah.
So did you play the guitar during that period?
Did I? Fuck. No, I haven't. I really, I sat down today and thought you should, because, or was it yesterday? Because I was bored because literally I've not had any work all over the Christmas period. Like I'm starting to get a bit worried about money actually. But we should be back in next week. So I thought, yeah, I organised all this lot in here and I thought, well, fuck me, you should get the guitar out. But there it is. Somebody says Carl Benjamin. We're talking about people who are controlled. From what I understand, and I did know people that worked in there and the funds and all the rest of it, he isn't. But that's only because I know him better. Simon, watch Angry Bootneck. He's hilarious. I do. That's obviously when he's on. So, yeah. How was your Christmas?
Oh, pretty shit, mate. My youngest has just had his first child, but the baby had a bit of a struggle coming into life, so we all had to rush to Newcastle from Birmingham to go and make sure she was okay.
Right. All right, now then.
She's just come home today. Yeah, come home today, so we've just got back from Newcastle, so I'm a bit knackered.
Yeah. Yes.
But go on. Saw you on, and I thought I haven't seen you for a while. I thought I'll give you a bell, see what you're up to.
Well, the last video I stuck out was on the 10th. I just only found out today. And I haven't done anything since the 10th, so this is it. But as soon as I get back in the cab, I might be able to do a bit more. But you sort of think, what is it I can actually talk about that I haven't already talked about? You know what I mean? What new could I do?
Well, what did you think about the drones situation over our army camps over at New Jersey?
Personally, I think they were fucking done by our lot.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's anybody outside the country. Only for the reason being, well, they're nothing to worry about. How could you so
you don't believe in alien shit then?
I don't say that I don't believe in alien shit, all right? Okay, I believe there's something else out there, right? But what I would say is that when you look back through history, when we thought we had aliens, the CIA were using that as a cover for things like the Blackbird, other things before that, you know, all of their latest kit. Now, I worked on the railway doing a relay, and I looked above me, right, as did the other lads, and we saw something up there which looked like it was a helicopter, but I couldn't hear a damn thing. And there was no prop wash, and it wasn't that high up, and I couldn't work it out. And we were towards Salisbury, and I thought to myself, it must be them using their stealth mode on a helicopter or whatever and testing it to see if we noticed. There was some noise going on around us as well. But I mean, to be honest, if there was, say, for instance, UFOs or whatever coming into our country or England, the world, the planet over here, yeah, I don't think that we'd ever be able to notice them anyway, because if they were that clever, there's nothing that we got would be able to see them. So I would suggest that it's homegrown. Yeah.
Well, I was in the house looking at, because my property overlooks just fields and countryside, and noticed a white orb in the sky. So I took a video of it, and it was there for a good while, and then it shot off. So I put it on. It was videotapes back then. That's how long ago it was. Video VHS tape. Mm-hmm. And I contacted the BBC if they were interested. Well, anyway, they sent one of them courier riders over to the house, picked it up, took it away, sent it back and said, nah, it can't have been a UFO because it was over at the local town where you live and other people would have seen it, even though it was 4 o'clock in the morning.
We were
at
a party. We saw the same thing, right? What we saw is these different lights look like orbs. There was about 6 of them, right? Now, we've all been drinking. Yeah. So the first thing we did, are we fucking seeing something or are we hallucinating? No, because there were some fairly straight people there. It was too slow for an aircraft, right? And it was at a certain height and they kept formation. I thought somebody went, oh, it could be tiki lamps or whatever the fuck they call it. These things were far too big. Whatever it is, I don't know to this day. But
Well, going back to the BBC thing, a couple of years after doing that, I was going to bed about 2:00 in the morning. Me curtains were shut. There was light coming through them, so I opened the curtains, and above me, believe it or not, was a flying disc. I opened the window, looked up, and it had the lights, typical lights underneath, you know.
mm-hmm.
But what gave it away, bro? I know damn well it was hard because I can't see aliens having fucking pop rivets, can you? And fucking scenes that were pop riveted together. That just didn't fucking seem logical to me. So I actually started laughing and just stuck my thumb up in it and popped up back in the house.
In it.
Yeah, you know, so I know damn well we've got them.
If there were such a thing as fucking aliens, right, coming into this place, they wouldn't make sure that they were easily spottable, right? So whatever it is that's fucking with us, right? I mean, especially with drones.
Wouldn't have pop rivets.
No. But the drone thing above, say, for instance, airports and stuff like that, who they're going to try and blame it on, right? They're going to blame it on some other things, right? But when they say it's no threat to us, how do they know that? Well, it's because they're the ones that put it up there. But who are they actually trying to blame it on, or what are they trying to achieve? That's always the important part. What is?
Well, it's to mess up Trump, innit? They're over his house, they're over his golf course, and apparently a bomb went off outside one of his properties yesterday in one of them new fucking Tesla trucks. Did you see about that?
I did see that, yeah. We were talking about that at the beginning of the stream.
I mean, what a poor fucker he is, man. Just wants to do right for people, and he's trying to be fucking I'm trying to fucking shooting, blowing fucking up, start fucking nuclear war, fucking everything to stop him getting in power. Fuck, you know, it's unbelievable.
It is pretty bad that the fact that they decided to go at it more and release these weapons so that the Ukrainians could use it on the Russians just before, he gets in. They're really trying to make his next year's in as difficult as possible. But there it is.
That's what they did with COVID, wasn't it?
But it's also trying to drum up what we were talking about earlier on, which is the left-right, which isn't actually the left-right. It's the decent folk against the evil pricks. They're trying to drum up that.
The thing is, side that the evil ones, right? It's too blatant for the good ones. The good ones are seeing it because it's blatant for them. It's the blind and the brain dead ain't seeing it, but the good people that with the hearts and can see it are actually seeing how blatant it is in your face. But nobody else seems to be clocking it. And this is why I love your channel, because I know I'm on the same level as you. We're on the same fucking wavelength. You know what I'm saying?
Just say it as it is, and if people don't like you, they can go somewhere else. That's their choice.
That's
where we are at the moment. But I mean, it's just. It's always been like this, by the way. I thought this is a new thing, but the more I look into history, the more I realize that before all this technology, we were so much easier controlled. When things went as fast as, say, for instance, the fastest horse, it was easier to control all sorts of information. But now everything can go at the speed of light. All they do then is flood us with information, so we become desensitized. Because that was the way they thought, well, how do we cope with people spreading information that we want to make out is misinformation? So what they did was they flooded the place with so much information that people went, just it's too much. I've done it. I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
But we've all actually, we've got to the stage of, do you know what? Fuck this. Poof, and turned off. That's exactly what they wanted. Now the other people were happy watching Gavin and Stacey and whatever it was. I was down a pub the other day, and you're listening to them, and you know, these are some proper geezers there and all the rest of it, but they're still talking about, they're not talking about football. They're talking about they're watching Gavin and Stacey, or they're watching the
Can't believe I've never watched a single fucking episode. Not in my fucking life. Just the fucking name of the title is enough to put you fucking off.
I haven't watched the box sets of anything. Do you know what? The last box set I watched was Life on Mars.
Mine was Band of Brothers.
Yeah. Well, I watched Life on Mars, and I tell you what, I've watched some films lately, or clips of these films, and in these films, they're telling you exactly what they're going to do, and you're like, That's
Well,
clever
it's
as
like
well.
when a new film comes out, they give you a trailer. Don't need to fucking watch it now. So
You watch that and you think, well, is this what they're up to next? But it does make you wonder. But yeah, Ricky
I mean,
Gervais is
is it-
100%
this-
control. Interesting.
this is another blatant thing that's in people's faces, but they probably don't get it. You know, the Heart Foundation, British Heart Foundation.
Yeah.
They've got an advert running on the telly at the moment. They're giving away a £4 million fucking mansion, a fucking Bentley, and £250,000 to go in your bank account. Now that's a charity giving that a fucking way. So let's get that right. That's a charity
Hang on a
giving
minute.
away.
Hang on, just double check first. Have you got to do one of these where everybody gives a quid and you get lucky drawn? Is that it? Because
I don't know what they're fucking doing. But
you might find
but
that
I'm
everybody's
sitting
got to
there
put
in-
£2 in, right? And the lucky person gets this, right? But they'll make more money. Now, if you look into how much people like the British Heart Foundation, how much their senior directors earn, is interesting. Well, actually, go through all the charities and look.
and I bet you it's one of their family members who win the fucking thing.
Do you remember that Help for Heroes? And when they started amassing a stupid amount of money, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Ashley was took the. There you go. Let's put that one there. Ashley, 300 million. They're not spending it on veterans. What is that? It's become a business. Now, most charities have become a business. It's a bit like cancer research. They know exactly what the answer is, but it's a good fucking earner.
If you was a soft touch, you sit there. I sit there. They want fucking £5 for an elephant, £6 for fucking water in Africa, fucking £2 for a fucking tiger. I added it fucking up once. It turned out to about 180 quid. They sat there and wanted fucking scrounging off me all bastard day.
But hang on a second.
And
These fuckers in
making
Ethiopia
me
and
feel
Africa.
fucking guilty watching it. Eh?
These fuckers in Ethiopia and Africa and whatever, they can run for 25 miles on a fucking cross country or whatever it is without fucking batting an eyelid. Walk 2 miles
They
through the
all do it.
fucking water and they whinge like a fucking cunt. Make your mind up. Which one is it?
Well, yeah, this is what I'm saying.
Common
You gotta
sense
be
would
brain
denote
dead
that,
to fall for all this shit
in
today.
it. Common sense.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
water over there, mate. Move there, right? And it was like my mate, his brother was a fucking raging lefty when he went to Africa and started installing all these wells. Come back 2 fucking weeks later, they dug up all the shit, sold it for guns. He went from being really left to very right overnight because he saw it for himself.
Yeah.
Do you remember
Fucking
all of these people like fucking, what's his name? That fucking With or Without You, him. All right, 600 million in the bank. Bob Geldof, 150 million. I mean, fuck me, how? I don't know. All right.
Yeah.
But
Right, yeah.
those cunts telling us, give us your fucking money. Yet we're the ones that are paying tax, not those pricks, right? And they want us to give money to a fucking, how much of that money, right, actually made it? Fuck all. And don't forget,
Yeah.
foreign aid is nothing more than money laundering. It's a way of
Well,
cleaning money and
yeah,
getting
yeah.
it to a wanker.
You're just giving him more cigars and putting fuel in his fucking Bentley when you give the money over. That's simple as that. Fucking child's play. You've got to be fucking brain dead for all three. And what gets me is to see that they're actually spending so much money on doing these adverts. There must be a lot of fucking brain dead people out there, isn't there?
Well, here's a thought. Do you remember that for £2 a month? Remember that advert, right? £2 a month, you can feed an African. Is that right?
And you,
So why does my fucking shopping cost me 150 quid a month? Right? Why? Have a word.
do stand up on it, come with
Fuck
on the
me.
modern fucking Britain.
Yeah, well, they've had to.
Right.
It's just fucking mental, isn't it?
I'm gonna let you crack on, bro.
All right, bud. No worries. Right.
All the best. I'll speak to you. I'll probably speak to you next month.
All right, mate. You take it steady. I'll see you in a bit.
Take it easy, bro.
All right,
Ta-ra.
bye-bye. For £2 a month? Over here, what could you get for £2 a month? Fuck me, you can get one lottery. Isn't it? Is that about right? Not even that. No, fuck me up and down. Jesus Christ. What is it? Lottery, where you put £2 or more over and you get something and it turns to litter. Amazing. Quite clever, that. Absolutely. Yeah. Reminds me of that joke. God, please let me win the lottery. God, mate, meet me halfway. Buy a ticket. There you are. Right. Well, are we getting to the end of it now? I think we might be. Okay, 941 watching. excrement. I love it. It's amazing how this went completely off topic, which is kind of the way I like it. And ended up, mate, I'm telling you that since this live stream's been on, all right, my screensaver's turned to 3 sheep just looking at me. And I swear, right? Hang on a bit. I won't be able to do it. Let me see. Sheep. You tell me that I'm not being listened to. Oh, hello. Just today, I was talking to the sister Banhammer, and she said, we'll go over and meet in one of these rooms that's secret so that we can actually talk with each other while going through the stream. I've come back, and this is literally on that, right? I'm talking to you lot about the NPCs and the sheep. It puts a picture of sheep there. I'm sure there's somebody out there going, let's just fuck with his head. Well, whatever. Probably Henry Crinkle. I'm led to believe that Crinkle is about somewhere. Bless him. Crinkle, how was your New Year? Oh, you won't have remembered it, will you? Bless. Anyway, right, well, I think we'll do that, and I'll jump off. Sheep are racist? Well, there are a lot more. Oh, should I go there? Probably not. Field full of white sheep, and then there's one black one. All right. Now, that used to be England years ago. But I saw a fucking sheep, a load of them, all black. I don't know how that happens, by the way. Not that I'm really too fussed, and I don't think there's any great difference between black and white sheep, apart from the colour. Could have gone so wrong, but it didn't. Right, okay, well, look, while we're still doing well, and I need a piss and a coffee, I shall say thank you very much for coming, and thank you very much for everybody calling in, and we shall do some more, because don't forget that I've got to be sober for the month. So there you go. I will see you all in a bit.